He's Tyler Jones. I'm Harrison Graham. You're watching College Football Now by Chat Sports. And on today's show, we are breaking down the current top 25 recruiting classes for 2023. Early signing day. It's really the signing day now. It's coming up in December. A lot of movement between now and then, but these are how the rankings sit right now. We'll go from 25 to 1. Cincinnati at number 25 with Luke Fickell leading the charge. Obviously, they'll join the Big 12 next year. Need to ramp up those recruiting classes to compete week in and week out. Number 24, Michigan, Tyler, who James Yoder, who hosts the Michigan Football Report, youtube.com/Michigan TV. He's actually live right now if you're still watching on Tuesday night. If you're not, if you're watching later, go check him out if you're a Michigan fan. He says this is probably the worst recruiting class at Michigan in 20 years.
Right, and if you're Michigan, you're kind of hoping that things hold out for the transfer portal. I think Michigan could also still be feeling the effects of Jim Harbaugh trying to take that Minnesota Vikings job.
I think there's some truth to that. Number 23, Texas A&M. Feels like 10 years ago when they pulled off the biggest recruiting class in college football history. A 3-6 record later, and the Aggies, who just lost their top commit, by the way, sit at the 23rd ranked class. Things not looking good for Jimbo down in College Station right now, Tyler.
No. And after all the success they had of last year's recruiting class, certainly been a big disappointment here.
Look, I'm a TCU alum. I love TCU. Texas A&M should not be behind TCU with the resources they've poured into that program. That speaks volumes. I do think Sonny Dykes is doing a great job. They're recruiting well. They will hit the portal hard as well. That's something he did at SMU really well to turn that program around. And I think for a lot of these teams, Tyler, you're not going to see these 26, 28 player classes anymore. I think 20 to 22 is the sweet spot because you want to leave some spots open for the portal.
Right. And when you look at TCU and Texas Tech, who's 21 on our list, I think that's credit where credit's due of these new head coaches at these schools.
New energy into these programs.
To get into the top 25 like this, to already be establishing their territory above some big brands like A&M and Michigan. To me, I know the sexy storyline is the big programs taking the step back. I think almost as much so seeing TCU and Texas Tech stake their claim. Credit to McGuire and to Dykes for these guys for being in this situation.
Yeah, I think parity is always a good thing, so that's good moving forward. Shout out your favorite college football team. We'll hop into the top 20 recruiting classes momentarily. Let us know who you're repping. Tyler's a Kansas alum. I'm a TCU alum. Producer Sam's an Oklahoma alum. We're repping a lot of the Big 12 right now, so go ahead and shout out your squad down in the comments.
One true champion.
They will be this year. Number 20, Baylor. Dave Aranda continues to do a good job with that program. I think he's going to continue to be a hot coaching candidate, by the way, for some of these big jobs. Number 19, North Carolina. You got to give Matt Brown credit, man. I think he's a flawed head coach, especially at this point in his career, but the guy recruits his ass off, and he loves doing it, so he finds guys like Drake May and Sam Howell, Tyler.
He's always been a great talker.
Yes.
A great salesman, and it's showing off with what he's able to do with the talent he's bringing in North Carolina.
If college football ever added like a president of the sport, he would be great at that. Number 18, Florida State. Mike Norvell kind of starting to get things rolling there. They have that nice one over LSU this year. 1 5-star, 7 4-stars in this class so far. Louisville at number 17, a solid class for them as they kind of try to steady the ship. They've kind of been stuck in the middle of the ACC for a few years, really since Lamar Jackson left. Arkansas at number 16. I know it's been a little bit of a disappointing year. Obviously, they just lost to Liberty, Tyler, but I do like the culture Sam Pittman's putting in there. I mean, taking over for that Chad Morris debacle to have another top 20 class here is pretty impressive.
Yeah, he's done a really good job on the recruiting trail, and we'll see what he can do when it comes to developing that next group of talent. They took a bit of a step back this year. What are they going to do next year as far as that goes?
Important year for Sam Pittman in 2023, I would say. Today's show, episode of College Football Now, is sponsored by Established Titles. And Established Titles is a very fun and novel way to preserve the natural woodlands of Scotland. And we'll tell you a little bit more about them as well here. They're a project based on a historic Scottish custom where landowners are referred to as lairds or lords and ladies in English. Title packs give you at least 1 square foot of dedicated land with a unique plot number on a private estate in Edelston, Scotland, and an official certificate with a crest. They plant a tree with with every order and work with global charities like One Tree Planted and Trees for the Future to support those global reforestation efforts. You can officially include the title of Lord or Lady on your credit card, your plane tickets, your dating profiles, your social media accounts, whatever. It makes for a great last-minute gift. First 200 people, by the way, can get their plot of land next to Tyler and I's plot of land, which we're already lords, by the way. Depending on how many of you want to become a lord or a lady, we can build our own Chat Sports Kingdom out there in Edelston. It makes for an amazing last-minute gift. Like I said, Established Title is actually running a great Black Friday sale with deals up to 80% off, and we're giving you an extra 10% off when you use promo code CHAT at establishedtitles.com/chat. Support the channel. It's a fun holiday gift. I think, Tyler, by the way, great white elephant gift.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you're the highlight of the party if the gift you're giving away is for someone to become a lord or a lady. I think it's a really good opportunity. Establishedtitles.com/chat, promo code CHAT. Get an extra 10% off. Let's go into the top 15 here. South Carolina. I think Shane Beamer continues to impress me. He takes them bowling last year. Spencer Rattler hasn't really had a great year in the transfer portal for him, but he brings him in there. They're 6-3 this year, another bowl season for the Gamecocks. They've got 10 4-stars and 10 3-stars so far in this class. At number 14, we know James Franklin can recruit, Tyler, but hasn't always translated to winning at the highest level.
There are coaches and then there are recruiters.
Yes.
And James Franklin has been more so of a recruiter than much of a head coach. And 14, good for them. Let's see what they can actually do with it, though.
Yeah, I think they had the number 6 class last year, so they've dipped a little bit this year. USC at number 13, Lincoln Riley, trying to implant his culture out there on the West Coast. Riley's got 2 5-stars. Malachi Nelson, of course, the quarterback, who's a big recruit.
And going back to his OU days,
him.
Lincoln's always been a transfer portal guy.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there's going to be more good talent that comes along the way,
Absolutely. At number 12, Tennessee, Josh Heupel. I mean, look, when they hired him, I was skeptical at best. He's obviously done a great job. They're in the college football playoff hunt. Top 15 class right now, making a push for a top 10 class. He's got a 5-star, 11 4-stars in this class already. He's doing a hell of a job. And then Dan Lanning at Oregon. I mean, week 1, Tyler, it was, I don't know if this is a good fit, but they've won 8 in a row since. He's recruiting well. I think being under Kirby Smart was probably good learning experience for him on the recruiting trail, but in a completely different part of the country, Tyler, recruiting really well also.
Yes, no question about it. Dan Lanning has done an incredible job, and what I'm very curious about, though, is that job has been a revolving door.
Since Chip Kelly, yeah.
Is Dan Lanning in it for the long haul? Are these players going to be there as long as Dan Lanning is going to be there? We'll see.
The worry, if you're the University of Oregon, is will the Big Ten come bring you? Because if you're Dan Lanning, you're like, I don't know what the future of the Pac-12 is. If Auburn comes calling, I have to at least consider that. So that's something to monitor for sure and would directly impact this recruiting class if he were to leave. Join the channel, subscribe for free. We have more college football coverage. We also cover the NFL, the NBA, and occasionally other sports as well. YouTube.com/ChatSportsTV. More videos on a daily basis here at Chat Sports. So subscribe, and we'll continue to have you covered. Let's go into the top 10 here. Clemson, number 10. Dipped for typical Dabo standards, but still a top 10 class. He's got a couple of 5-stars and 15 4-stars. How about another first-year coach getting it done? We mentioned Joey McGuire and Suddy Dykes for TCU and Texas Tech. How about Billy Napier at Florida?
Yes.
And then also Brent Venables at Oklahoma. I know this year hasn't gone to plan. Producer Sam would agree with that, an Oklahoma alum.
And they've slipped a couple spots the last couple days.
But still, if he could hold firm and keep a top 10 class to steady the ship a little bit here, I think that will be critical for the Sooners up in Norman. At number 7, Mario Cristobal. We know he can recruit, and we knew he'd be able to recruit at Miami. But you wonder, is he kind of like a James Franklin where he's convincing, he's a leader of men, but can he actually coach? I mean, we saw last year at Oregon, Tyler, they got pushed around down the stretch. They were not impressive at all. He runs out of there, goes to Miami. He's Cuban, obviously, a local guy. He wants to be the Miami head coach, but year 1's been a disaster. We got to give this a couple years, of course, get some of his kids in there. Good start on the recruiting trail, at least.
Yeah, at least that's the one positive you can take away there. And it's Miami, it's the U, right? We know what they have with resources. There's no reason why they shouldn't be able to compete at a high level, especially in an ACC who is so weak right now. There's a huge opportunity for Miami.
There's a void beyond Clemson of who those face programs are in the ACC. Florida State might be on the comeback, but Miami should have that opportunity as well. The Texas Longhorns at number 6. Obviously, Arch Manning is the one that stands out here, Tyler. Big get for Sark. If nothing else, just for name recognition. To get the Mannings involved into your program, I think is obviously huge. And you kind of compare these two programs that'll be bolting for the SEC in a couple of years. Pretty even overall. I think the Arch commit is the difference. But Jackson Arnold's a big recruit in his own mind, the quarterback commit for Oklahoma. It'll be fascinating to see which program's in a better position once the SEC comes around, because coming into this year, no one would have said Texas. But now, with how things have gone in year one with Oklahoma, I do think there's a debate. So what do you guys think? OU or UT? Oklahoma or Texas? And we'll see, Tyler, how the next couple of seasons go.
And Texas has drastically improved this year from where they were at last year. I think what you can say that's different about Sark compared to Tom Herman and Charlie Strong is the development of the players that are there, and that's a huge sign for the future of where that Texas program is going. We don't know what Brent Venables means as far as the future goes in trying to develop talent. That remains to be seen, but Texas has to feel like things are going in the right direction compared to where they were at within the last couple of years.
I think the rest of the season for Texas is critical. They get a big opportunity against TCU this weekend because they've lost a bunch of close games and blown some leads with Sark. I do agree that developing has been better, but he's got to win some of these 50-50 matchups. He's got a chance to do so this weekend. Top 5, Ohio State at number 5. Ryan Day is a great recruiter. They've got multiple assistant coaches that are really good recruiters on that staff as well. One 5-star, 19 4-stars. That is loaded there. LSU at number 4. Look, I'm not the biggest Brian Kelly guy, but the guy can coach. He can recruit. He doesn't have some of the restrictions he had at Notre Dame anymore. I was skeptical of the fit. So far, so good after a slow start.
He's got a family, He's dancing around with recruits. It's an odd fit, but he's making it work.
He is making it work. Hey, the team he left ain't doing so bad either. Marcus Freeman, after a disastrous start, you lose to Marshall. Number 3 class, you're starting to win some big games, win over Clemson. I think everybody's rooting for Marcus Freeman, right? After the way Brian Kelly left, I think everyone wants Freeman to work in South Bend. So I think he's turned a corner here, doing some good things, obviously, for that program. Georgia with the number 2 class. They've got 17 4-stars, 1 5-star. Kirby Smart, I think there's a debate that is real right now. What is the face program of college football? I would still give the slight edge to Alabama, but there's a real chance that Georgia goes back-to-back in national championships. They could end up with the number 1 recruiting class here. Bama does have that top class right now, but I don't think it's just the Bama and everyone else show at this point. Georgia is established. They're there. Ohio State's been established. So, and again, I think it goes back. Parity's a good thing. Even if it's just a few teams, it's better than just 1 or 2.
And even on the recruiting trail, we are seeing where things are tightening, right? Even with Alabama having the number 1 class.
5 5-stars, by the way.
5 5-stars, as good as they are. Georgia has done a great job. Notre Dame, LSU, the gap is not as big as what we've seen years prior with Alabama and everybody else.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see if Bama sticks with guys like Bill O'Brien and Pete Golding is their coordinators. I think those 2 guys are under a little bit of fire, so that'll be something to follow. So there you go. They're the top 25 classes. Bama's got the fairly heavy lead in 24/7 composite. They're up 16 points or so on Georgia, which is a fairly wide gap, and those 5 5-stars are a big reason why. Will Alabama finish with that number 1 ranked class? Type Y for yes, type in for no, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.